Hello, beautiful beings of light, beautiful perspectives in this world. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome. I believe that we are all emanations of the one universal consciousness, that we are all manifestations of this universal life force, and we contain within us this life force because we are not separate from that. I'm like you. I'm constantly learning. Every day, every challenge, every relationship, every experience is an opportunity, a gift to grow and evolve. And the other day, I was feeling pretty low. I was experiencing and struggling with an attitude of shame and unworthiness and sadness, and it wasn't until I was able to bring awareness to this discomfort that I realized that it was all rooted in fear. The fear of being unworthy, the fear of being unlovable, the fear of being a disappointment, the fear that I'm wasting my life. And it wasn't until I was able to accept these emotions, and through this acceptance, I was able to release them. I reminded myself that emotions are just energy, that energy is transient and constantly in flux, and that it's not permanent. They're moving through me, and I have to let it move through me. I can't block it with my analyzing or my judgments or my ideas. And that because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, we are so much more than our physical selves. We are multisensory beings, and I am not my mind or my body or my thoughts or my emotions. I'm consciousness experiencing them. And as I surrendered through love and kindness and patience, I was able to release these emotions. And I sat with them. I let the discomfort wash over me. I didn't judge myself, and I didn't judge the thoughts or emotions. I didn't analyze them. I simply let them be. And the energy passed through me, and I didn't feel the need to react to it. I had no attachment, there was no clinging, there was no indulging. And I expressed the emotions, I said them out loud, and I wrote them down. And then I found amusement in it. I was able to get to a point where I could laugh at the fact that my human side always wants to cling to things. It always wants to cling to what isn't and reinforce what isn't instead of celebrating what is. And I allowed this to help me look for pointers to the truth of my existence, to use these emotions as a guidance system to point me back to myself. And through remembering my truth, I was able to remind myself that I'm the one who gets to use the tool of my mind, and I don't need to let my mind use me. My thoughts, my stories, and narratives are simply things that my ego clings to because it wants to feel separate and individual in this world. But as I reminded myself of my wholeness, I could feel that my behavior and my emotion, my attitude began to shift. So I examined the truth of my emotions. I realized, as Wayne Dyer says, how powerful the ego is at edging God out. And I came back to my truth that I am whole, and I am worthy, and I am loved simply for existing. Just as you are whole and worthy and loved simply for existing. And I reminded myself that everything is happening as it needs to, and that I can learn lessons through every experience. It's funny how easy it is to get caught up in the identification with the 3D physical world. How society reinforces these concepts and judgments of what success is and what it means to be worthy. Yet, at the truth of our existence, at the core of our being, we are so much more than our physical selves. And being able to re-identify with that infinite, timeless, spaceless, formless, loving, peaceful, joyful being, I was able to shift my attitude and allow the life force to be constructive and not destructive. I started to acknowledge the divinity in everything and the source of existence as love, and to realize that I am not separate from that source of existence, so I am an expression of love. You are an expression of love, and that we are powerful beings. I am a powerful being and you are a powerful being. And it's amazing how awareness and acceptance and surrender just seems to dissolve the attachment of these experiences and just naturally shifted my attitude. And I start to see the universe smiling back at me. The more that I'm able to follow this recipe, the shorter these challenging times and experiences last, and the less frequently they seem to show up in my life. And it's all about the practice. Practice bringing awareness to my attitude, admitting how I'm feeling, accepting and releasing the energy without judgment, without clinging, without needing it to be any different than it is. Letting that light of awareness and acceptance shine on those dark parts and those shadows in myself so that they can be transformed and transmuted into light. And surrendering through love and kindness and patience, showing myself grace and compassion, and coming back to love over and over and over again. Not judging myself, not judging the thoughts or emotions, not imposing certain timelines or time limits on how I should feel or how long I should feel a certain way. And then coming back to amusement, learning to laugh at myself, learning to see the humor in my situation, and to allow that humor to dissolve and to help break the trance of egoic attachment, to allow the playful side of being into my life. And that brings me back to remembering my truth. And through remembering my truth, I learn to trust over and over and over again. I reaffirm what I know to be true at the core of my being, and it naturally shifts my attitude. It helps me remember my divinity, and it helps me see the divinity in all of existence. I'm learning to come back to love, to keep my heart open, because light is the way of love. And I know we all struggle with these challenging emotions, and the more we practice seeing them as energy in motion, the less we identify with them as being an expression of who we are. Energy is in flux constantly. Our emotions are simply a byproduct of our thoughts. And we can start to use these emotions, this emotional guidance system, as a pointer to point us back to ourselves, to point us back to our true being. So how can you practice using your emotions as a guidance system to help point you in the direction and guide you back to yourself, to guide you back to your truth? I would love it if you'd share down below. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and I love you. But always remember to love yourself the most. Yahoo!